Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach, a racing heart, or a sense of dread for no apparent reason? That's anxiety. Anxiety is a natural response to stress or danger. It arrives unannounced with a rush of adrenaline, cold sweat, and a pounding heart. Its presence is as universal as it is personal. It influences everyone, at varying times, reasons, and intensities. You see, anxiety is a multifaceted experience, deeply ingrained in human beings. But it's not just about feeling jittery before a big presentation or dreading an upcoming exam. It's a complex emotion, intertwined with our very existence. This emotion can serve as a warning, alerting us to potential risks and prodding us to gear up for forthcoming challenges. However, on the flip side, this helpful warning system can become hyperactive. It may raise false alarms or inflate the severity of trivial problems. This is when anxiety starts to meddle with our day-to-day lives, provoking distress and discomfort and manifesting in physical symptoms like headaches or stomach aches. What prompts this transformation? What turns anxiety from a beneficial counselor to a troublesome nag? The reasons are multifaceted, including our genes, environment, past experiences, and thought patterns. But it's crucial to emphasize that experiencing anxiety is not indicative of weakness or a defect in character. It's inherent to our humanity. It can pose challenges, but it can also be controlled and even utilized positively. As we explore further, it's vital to remember that everyone's experience with anxiety is distinctive. You may not relate completely to someone else's journey with anxiety, and that's perfectly fine. Above all, do not hesitate to seek help. Understanding is the first step towards managing anxiety, and that's what this journey is all about. Existential anxiety emerges from our confrontation with existence itself. We've all felt that unsettling sensation, right? This shadowy presence that keeps us company, whispering the uncomfortable reality of our existence. Let's dive deeper into this concept. Existential anxiety is a philosophy discussed widely by scholars like Jean-Paul Sartre, the French philosopher, who famously stated, "Existence precedes essence." What does that signify? Essentially, it's the concept that first we exist, and then we are responsible for giving our lives value. It's simultaneously liberating and unnerving. This leads us to the heart existential anxiety. It's the unnerving impression that arises with our consciousness of existence. The awareness that we possess the freedom to mold our lives and that freedom is coupled with accountability. It's akin to standing at a cliff's edge, gazing into the infinite space and feeling both thrilled and petrified. Existential anxiety, however, isn't solely about freedom and responsibility. It's about the void as well. The void is that persistent sense of hollowness, the impression that our lives lack something. It's the darkness that infiltrates our thoughts when we begin to question our existence's meaning. To put it bluntly, existential anxiety is the unease that arises when comprehending our existence. It's the challenge of being human, of wrestling with our independence, our duty, and the void. It's the understanding that we are ultimately solitary in our life's journey. However, before we allow existential anxiety to overwhelm us, remember it can also act as a catalyst for personal growth. It prompts us to seek significance, to participate more deeply and genuinely in life. It's a wake-up call, a reminder that we are alive. So when you experience the biting discomfort of existential anxiety, don't run from it. Welcome it. Investigate it. It's an integral part of our human experience, a part of our voyage through life. Existential anxiety is the gnawing feeling that accompanies our awareness of existence. Our interpretations of events shape our emotional landscape. Let's investigate the psychological analysis of anxiety. Essentially, psychology scrutinizes our mental processes, exposing the complex patterns of thoughts and emotions that make up our experience of anxiety. One significant factor in anxiety is cognitive distortions, mental tricks that can make harmless events seem tremendously stressful. We'll explore a few of these distortions now. First, we have catastrophic thinking, where we consistently fear the worst outcome. Consider you're getting ready for a job interview and negative thoughts start to creep in. What if I don't make it? What if I remain jobless? By doing this, we turn an ordinary interview into a huge disaster. Second, we have black and white thinking. This distortion causes us to view everything in extreme terms, not allowing for any middle ground. For example, if you don't score perfectly on a test, you see yourself as a complete failure. There's no room for good enough. It's either a triumphant success or a disastrous failure. Lastly, there's fortune telling. We predict the future negatively without any solid proof. Imagine you're about to give a presentation and you're certain that you'll fumble and embarrass yourself. You've essentially foreseen a future that's yet to occur. Understanding these cognitive distortions can help us challenge and change them. We can learn to intercept our catastrophic thoughts, question our extreme reasoning, and challenge our negative predictions. Recognizing these distortions allows us to dissect the net of anxiety and start to perceive events as they are, rather than as our anxious minds distort them. By doing this, we pave the way to managing our anxiety, rather than being ruled by it. Cognitive distortions fuel anxiety, and understanding this can help us manage it better. This is the psychological perspective on anxiety, and it's an essential viewpoint for learning to maneuver our emotional landscape. Anxiety triggers vary, from uncertainty to social situations to performance pressure. These triggers can sneak up on us, ignited by a myriad of factors. To comprehend anxiety, it's vital to pinpoint these triggers. They're as varied as our individual experiences and fears. A common trigger can churn a wave of anxiety within us. The not knowing, the maybes, they can feel like an unwelcome houseguest. Then there are social situations. From a casual meeting with friends to a business call, these can spark anxiety in some, making them feel judged or inadequate. Performance pressure is another trigger. The pressure to excel can be overwhelming and can lead to anxiety as we fear failure. Everyday situations can also act as triggers. For instance, financial stress, health issues, or life changes can increase anxiety. Even minor problems like traffic or running late can ignite an anxiety response. However, triggers aren't universal. What may trigger anxiety in one person may not affect similarly. Identifying our unique triggers can help us anticipate and manage anxiety better. Triggers don't necessarily lead to anxiety. They reveal our anxiety's focal points. They act like a spotlight, revealing our fears. Recognizing triggers isn't about eradicating them. That's often not possible. Instead, it's about learning to navigate them, to lessen their influence over us. It involves shifting our outlook, viewing triggers not as threats, but as chances for growth and self-understanding. Recognizing our triggers is the first step towards managing anxiety. Stoicism teaches us acceptance, a powerful tool in navigating through anxiety. As we explore this ancient ideology, we find ourselves in the company of two renowned Stoic philosophers, Epictetus and Seneca. These philosophers believed that our perception shapes our reality, teaching us that we can control our minds, attitudes, and reactions, while the external world remains beyond our reach. This echoes the well-known serenity prayer, often recited in recovery groups, which seeks serenity, courage, and wisdom. Now let's think of anxiety as a turbulent ship in the vast ocean of our minds. The waves represent uncontrollable external factors, while the ship symbolizes our mind, susceptible yet robust. The rudder, symbolizing our perception and attitude, helps us navigate. Stoicism hands us this rudder, urging us to steer with grace. Accepting the waves and maintaining our it encourages us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus's teachings stress focusing our energy on the former and releasing the latter. This is an act of active acceptance rather than passive resignation. Stoicism teaches us that the power to manage our anxiety lies within us. Seneca's famous quote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," encapsulates anxiety's essence. The fear of potential threats, the apprehension of what could happen. Stoicism urges us to challenge these fears and live in the present, accepting reality as it is, not as we imagine it. In the face of anxiety, Stoicism provides a rudder, guiding us through the storm with acceptance and comprehension. Control what you can. Accept what can't. That's the Stoic whisper. It's a whisper that, when heeded, can help us transform the way we experience anxiety. Fear not. We wield psychological tools to help us cope with anxiety. This is true. We're not defenseless against anxiety's turmoil. Like a ship with its compass, sails, and rudder, we possess tools for navigation. Let's discuss these coping strategies. First is mindfulness. It's the practice of being fully present and aware in the present moment. It's about awareness without becoming overwhelmed by our surroundings. When anxiety strikes, mindfulness encourages us to face it, sit with it, and observe it without condemnation. Secondly, we have deep breathing, a simple yet potent tool usable anywhere. When anxiety starts creeping in, focusing on your breath for a few moments can be beneficial. Deep, slow breaths can calm the mind and relax the body, serving as a natural tranquilizer. Lastly, let's focus on grounding techniques. Grounding techniques are strategies that help us concentrate on the present moment. These techniques are particularly useful during panic attacks or intense anxiety bouts. Grounding techniques can be something as simple as focusing on the sensation of your feet touching the ground, to visualizing roots extending from your body into the earth, firmly anchoring you to the present moment. These techniques are not aimed at avoiding or eliminating anxiety. Rather, they're about altering our association with it. They're about understanding that while we can't always control when anxiety will strike, we can control our response to it. So there it is. Mindfulness, deep breathing, and grounding techniques. 3 powerful tools in our anxiety-fighting toolkit. Utilize them, get familiar with them, and remember they're always available when needed. These psychological tools can help anchor us to the present, grounding our anxious minds. So when anxiety next decides to pay you a visit, remember, you're not powerless. You have tools ready for use. You're the captain of your ship and you're capable. Anxiety isn't our enemy. It's a catalyst for growth. This insight originates from Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher well-versed in the complexities of the human mind. Nietzsche coined the term amor fati, or a love for one's own destiny. So how is this connected to anxiety? Nietzsche proposed that life, with its unpredictable beauty and chaos, presents a myriad of experiences, including tranquility, joy, despair, and indeed, anxiety. He encouraged us to welcome these experiences as opportunities for personal development rather than burdens. Through this perspective, anxiety morphs from a feared adversary into a challenging but mentor. Imagine a tightrope walker, precariously balanced high above the earth on a thin wire. On one hand, she's stricken with fear, her heart pounding, palms perspiring. Yet on the other hand, there's a sense of exhilaration, a thrill that comes from staring danger in the face and emerging triumphant. This embodies the paradox of anxiety, terrifying yet potentially a potent source of motivation. Like the tightrope walker, we often find ourselves teetering between fear and thrill. Whether preparing for a presentation, an important exam, or a social event, these instances can stir up anxiety, but they also drive us to prepare, to concentrate, and to rise to the challenge. In this way, anxiety can serve as a powerful motivator, compelling us to perform at our peak. While it's not our intention to glorify anxiety or undermine its potential to create distress, we simply aim to reframe our relationship with it. Instead of retreating from anxious emotions, we can learn to utilize them, to direct them into productive energy. Anxiety can kindle creativity, generate innovative, and propel us forward. So, when you next experience the stirrings of anxiety, inhale deeply and recall Nietzsche's amor fati. Welcome the challenge, lean into the discomfort, and let it empower you to grow, create, and excel. After all, in Nietzsche's own words, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And there you have it. Optimal anxiety fuels creativity, propels us forward. Find your equilibrium, the zone where anxiety sharpens focus without paralyzing you. Consider the Yerkes-Dodson curve, a principle in psychology. It represents the link between arousal, specifically anxiety, and performance. Visualize a bell curve. On the left, low anxiety equals low performance. We're too at ease, complacent. But as we proceed right, performance and anxiety both rise. This is the sweet spot. Anxiety here is a catalyst, heightening our focus, nurturing creativity and stirring momentum. It's like a caffeine jolt, making us alert and engaged. However, there's a limit. Veer further right, and performance dips. Anxiety overwhelms, paralyzing us. Thinking becomes difficult, decision-making impossible. We falter. The task, then, is to pinpoint your equilibrium, the perfect anxiety level. It varies for each individual. For some, it's a subtle background buzz, adequately motivating. For others, it's an intense surge, urging us to take risks, to step beyond our comfort. How does one find this equilibrium? It's a journey of self-exploration, involving mindfulness, self-care, and resilience. Mindfulness entails being aware of your emotions, thoughts, reactions. Self-care ensures you have the resources to manage anxiety. Resilience means bouncing back when anxiety spikes. Anxiety isn't your enemy, but a part of you. Embrace it. Use it to your advantage. And remember this final thought. Too little anxiety and we stagnate. Too much and we crumble. As our philosophical ship docks, remember this. Anxiety isn't a foe. It's a companion. A complex, multifaceted companion, woven into the fabric of existence. We've navigated its realm, diving deep into existential anxiety and cognitive distortions. We've faced the void, braved our mind's stormy seas, and sought wisdom within our fears. Anxiety is the echo of our confrontation with existence. It's Sartre's words, existence precedes essence, echoing in our being. It's our fight against freedom's weight, the great unknown, the responsibility that comes with it. From a psychological viewpoint, our interpretation of events molds our emotional terrain. We've examined distortions, the mental illusions stoking anxiety's fire. All or nothing thinking, catastrophizing, fortune-telling, they all add fuel to anxiety. We've also explored anxiety's triggers, such as life's uncertainty, social situations, and performance pressure. Yet we have tools to combat them. Mindfulness, deep breathing, grounding techniques. They anchor us in the storm. We can't forget the Stoics' wisdom, Epictetus Seneca, who whispered, "Control what you can, except you can't." They taught us to navigate anxiety with poise, and anxiety is more than discomfort. It's a catalyst for growth, a motivator. It's the tightrope walker balancing fear and exhilaration. It's Nietzsche's amor fati, love of fate. Anxiety has a sweet spot where it aids focus without immobilizing us. The secret isn't to eliminate anxiety, to engage with it, learn its patterns, find our balance. So as we part ways today, I invite you continue this exploration. Engage with your anxiety, understand it, make it your ally, share your thoughts and struggles in the comments. And stay tuned, our next videos dive deeper into the human psyche.